Yeah. What's up, guys? Happy Friday, June 17th, 2022. We've got Juice Ball Friday, but it's not 15 games, it's just 12 games. And I think it might be 11 on Fanduel. So, hey, maybe not as psychotic as it usually is, but should still be pretty high scoring. We still have cores, and then, still just a lot of teams on the slate. So it usually creates, the more teams on the slate, the more likely it is for one team to go crazy, right? And we got a few stuff. We got a couple games I'm just excited to watch. The Yankees and Blue Jays, obviously a pretty big game, probably bigger for the Blue Jays than it is the Yankees. Yankees a 10-game lead in the middle of June on the division. That's insane. But hey, that's baseball, Susan, man. Happy Friday, you boys and girls. Shout out to the live chat, ACP, Steve Mitchell, AOD, Team Underground. Who else out there? Josh in the chat. Shout out to Josh. The Warriors, the Dubs, making it happen. I went to sleep to Sports Center, and in my dreams, all I heard was 5-hour debates on where does Steph Curry rank all time now, and I'm just like, oh my God. It's crazy how quick we are to crank up those barbershop debates. But yeah, shout out to Josh, man. It's for those of you that are truly a fanatic for one team, no matter what it is, right? Like for me, it's the Yankees. Josh is repping the Warriors. Everything. When your team wins, man, it's just like it's a different feeling. So shout out to Josh. Glad he was able to live through that. Some of you guys, your team's coming. Your team's coming. Boston gave up last night. It was rough. Braves on a 14-game win streak. Yeah, man, they are red hot. Ironically, like two of those last games, Ronald Acuna got me no total bases, which I'm not salty. I'm not salty. Whatever. Hey, whatever. Happy for Curry and the Warriors. Great team. Yeah, for sure. And Curry just played out of his mind. Out of his mind. It's not just New York, Gun. I mean, I meant for like the division, right? New York is wild, but think about this: the Blue Jays are 11 games above 500, but they're 10 games back in the middle of June. Whereas the Braves are on that win streak, but the Braves aren't even in like first place of their division. So like, it's just dumb what the Yankees are doing right now. And I'm not, me, I'm not trying to be non-humble in June. I just think it's like insane that some of these teams, even the Red Sox went on a ridiculous tear and they're in third place. Like, holy cow! I want to see New York and Atlanta again. Yeah, as long as you guys don't have like the same, right? No Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, and guys like that. I think we'd be all right. The Braves are getting it done with offense, right? And we've seen the Yankees offense sometimes get picked up by their pitching. That pitching staff is just going nuts. Reese Hopkins told me on 8.5. That was rough. He had a double that was close. I was only able to get 1.5 total bases though, Steve. Was fantasy points on Underdog? That's a shame because they were going off too. But I think that was one of those where it middled. It hit the total bases, and then he miss 8.5 by like a point or something? 175 and no house. Wiggins came through clutch. I have to try that. Maybe for basketball. I know when basketball comes back, NBA comes back, we're going to have all kinds of deals and sponsorships and content. So maybe we'll add that to the mix. I was on Underdog fantasy points. Yeah, that's a shame, man. That sucks. Let me get some better vibes here. Slime. All right, we'll vibe with it. Anyway, we got a ton of baseball to go through today. So, you know how we do. Oh, you had a pinch hit. Yeah, that sucks too. Blowouts, right? Just like basketball, blowouts. We started getting benched and stuff for backups. Let's go pull up rotogrinders.com/weather/MLB. Mr. Kevin Roth and his free weather report. There's a link in chat. You should bookmark that. Looks like it's a pretty good day. Looks like game 2 of the Washington and Phillies game might be worth watching. But everything else seems like we're not worried about rain so much. Cincy wins out to center at 10. Chicago wins mostly left to right. Cool. Boston warm with winds out to right. So that's good for the lefty pull hitters over the pesky pole. Winds a bit out to right, a bit to left out there in City Field. And then Detroit, what is that? Comerica, I believe. Decently warm with winds out to left center at 15. Cool. Colorado is 90 degrees. Good God. Yeah, so I bet the Padres have like a 8 implied run total, right? All right, cool. So shout out to Kevin Roth for that little 401 underdog lines done. What's the strategy on it? So like if you're line shopping it, let's say you have an account on both PrizePicks and Underdog is just higher than PrizePicks, we'll take the PrizePicks line, but sometimes it's not always the same. Sometimes Underdog will be lower. It does feel like more often than not Underdog lines are more aggressive. So then in that case, if you like the unders, go get some of that action on Underdog. But then sometimes you can just bet linear, like 1.5 total bases, stuff like that. Underdog's product is more so set up for like the draft stuff, but I don't hate the pick'em stuff. But yeah, you have to be smart. You have to line shop, grab the better lines between the two sites that we play. And then I think they offer like a difference in Jake was saying something about CSGO was different, or the esports product was a little bit different, lines were a little bit different. So maybe some of the more weird sports are a little bit more edgy. Anyway, so since there's no real weather, we don't have to adjust anything. So let's just jump into it. Looks like the Phillies and Nats game, this is second game of a doubleheader, and it's only on DraftKings. So we have Bailey Falter scheduled to pitch against Paulo Espino from English. 86 degrees out there, a 5.9 implied run total for the Phillies, 4.9 for the Nats. So neither one of these pitchers are anything to write home about, but especially Falter. 15 innings of sample size so far this season. Falter, a 5.01 expected ERA and a 1.5 home run per 9 against righties, and that's picking up where he left off last year, where it was at 1.7. So good spot for Nelson Cruz against the lefty, and then against left-handed hitters so far this season. He has sustained a 30+% line drive rate and also has allowed the long ball here. So Falter in this bullpen could be in for a battle. We have no interest in pitching Falter or Espino on DraftKings. Espino's expected ERA is a bit better so far. 30 innings of sample size this season. He is definitely projecting better than he did last year. Last year he had almost a 5 expected ERA in 109 innings. But the strikeout rate has even declined more than it was last year, 20% to 18.5%. So that's probably not something I want to tempt fate on this size slate against a team with a 6-run total that involves Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to play any Espino. Obviously, we're stacking Phillies. We'll probably get to some Nats stacks as well. So let's start our stack list, and this is for DK. So we'll put Phillies in the mix. We'll even put Nats in the mix. Friday night, we tend to stack a lot of teams, and because of the size slate every Friday, we tend to not get too many teams that have egregious concentrated ownership. Maybe today, Coors gets a little bit higher owned just because it's a 12 or 11, depending on where you play, versus the normal 15. But usually Friday night is my most distributed stack list because of how many teams are and how stacks don't really get over 8 to 10% owned by the field on aggregate. But I think today we'll get a couple of double digits, namely the Padres, right? Schwarber hit a homer yesterday. I think he hit 2 yesterday. He was going crazy with it. And yeah, Espino, to his credit, last 3 seasons, I'd say the last 2, the home run per 9 is under 1, but it's not like the bat at ball data is elite, right? It's not like he's got a 70% ground ball rate. He's got a 20+% line drive rate to lefties. The hard contact last year was at 40%. So far it's at 31. So, like, I don't necessarily fear the batted ball data for guys like Schwarber and Harper. But, yeah, Harper and Schwarber both have really, really high ratings in a bomb detector, 424 and 439. And remember, the bomb detector does not look at home run per 9 or anything like that. It strictly goes off of batted ball data between the hitter and the pitcher. So, you got to like that. Home run triangle was a check. Bro, you know what's funny is when I was looking at the Phillies home run triangle, I was like, man, I wish we could trade Schwarber for Hoskins, because Hoskins wasn't in the triangle. It was, what was it? Harper, Schwarber, and maybe Castellanos. And I was like, man, this is Hoskins' spot. Or maybe it was Hoskins, and I wanted Castellanos over Harper or Schwarber. Either way, I wanted Schwarber out for one of the two, and Schwarber was the guy that hit him, right? So I'm glad not, right? Zach Wheeler couldn't get 4Ks. That's all I needed from him. Oh, man. Nats are a tough strikeout team. Definitely against lefties, too. They're the lowest K team in the league against lefties, 17.7%. So, literally no interest in Falter here. Bouncing between the two boards, we can maybe look at, what is Washington? WSN? WS? There we go. Is it WAS? It was just WS. Hey, anyway. First run innings allowed. I don't know if that's game. Oh, that's for game 2. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Soto, Hernandez, Bell. Nothing on Nelly Cruz, huh? Nelson. No, they don't have a whole lot for that game up. Probably my last day playing MLB today. Got to take a break. Hey, Josh, that's cool. No shame in that. But because you say that, I am fully prepared for you to win 20K tonight. I feel like we've seen this before. Just play the run lines against the Nats blindly. Should be profitable. Yeah, they're rough. They're rough right now. Giants and the Pirates. Carlos Rodon taking on Zach Thompson. We got a 4.8 run total for the Giants. Pirates at 3.4, and Rodon is, we made him the cover boy because he's looking like he's in a hard to miss spot. I won't say can't miss. Looks like he's in a hard to miss spot. On this season, he's holding on to a 30.6% K rate, a 2.98 expected ERA, and he gets the benefit of PNC Park, which is playing pitcher friendly. Also, he gets the Pirates, which is playing pitcher friendly. The Pirates have an 86 WRC plus against lefties this year, a 24% K rate. This is a massive spot. And at sub 10K on DK, he has a real chance at 30 fantasy points here. So I think we're going to introduce him into the pitcher playing pool, and we're not even going to mess around. We're going to put him tier 1. Yesterday, we didn't have any tier 1s, I don't think. I think we just went 2s and 3s. I think Rodon has every checkbox checked, and he's got to be tier 1 in this spot. Even the weather's not that bad, 77 degrees it looks like. So, yeah, everything you can want is on his side. The guys he's got to get around if you are worried about some bats. Yeah, Reynolds, Hayes, and Michael Chavis, all guys that have a decent batting average against lefties. Chavis will still strike out 30+% of the time. So yeah, I just think Rodon's looking really, really good. So what do we get for Rodon on the prop sites? 7 Ks, 98.5 pitches, 38.5. So they really, really juice him up. Like, they really juice him up. What are they walking at? 7.4% walk rate. I guess if I wanted to throw a blanket over it all, it would probably be fantasy points. But I do think, 7 Ks is something you rarely see old gun Dacker bet. I like to stick with the 4 to 6s. And then fantasy points, I guess if it's sub 40, it's got a real shot. But I don't want to sweat high lines. This is like in basketball, if you guys are still transitioning to baseball, like when Jokic was at 60 fantasy points, it's like, yeah, he can do that. He's Jokic. But I don't want to sweat that. So that's just where I'm at here. I don't want to sweat that for Rodon. So I won't. Zach Thompson's on the bump for the Pirates. 4.39 expected ERA, 1.36 WHIP, 50 innings so far. He's not striking anyone out, and he is allowing a lot of power to righties so far, but it is looking like a coincidence. If I had to guess, right? If you look at this batted ball data, 21% line drive rate with a 33% hard contact rate, like, and the fly ball rate's 31%. Like, I don't think that's going to sustain a 2.5 homer per night. He might be a little bit unlucky in that regard. But he doesn't miss bats, so he still has a low K rate. So he might get into some Giants bats. It's like I said, it's a pitcher-friendly park, but this Giants team still has some talent and some ISO. Mike Yastrzemski, Brandon Belt, Jock Peterson, all guys that if you're going to dare them put the ball in play, especially a guy like Jock, I'll take my chances. Only Brandon Belt got into a 4 rating on the bomb detector. So I'll get to some scattered Giants bats. I'm on the fence on dedicated onslaught stacks, but I'll tell you what, for Giants to have a near 5 run total, that's saying something. And well, how do we play that? Let's put them at the bottom, like as an honorable mention, because the Giants also give you that pinch hit risk, which I hate. So we'll see what that lineup comes out as. But I'd be somewhat interested in Giant stacks based on ownership. If I got there, though, it'd probably be like a 4% or something like that. I don't have any interest in the Pirates, not even to hedge my Carlos Rodon exposure. Let's get caught up on chat. Phillies keep going off as super chalk. I don't know when to fade chalk. So I think baseball is one of the more unique DFS sports in that every slate truly is different for me pre-flop. Like, there's going to be times, like today, chalk is bad, right? Because there's so many alternatives. I rolled into the streets yesterday with 50% Phillies stack, and 50% of my lineups had 4 Phillies. It was I don't know how you miss in that spot. And I also want to note that it was such a short slate. In order for me to like fade the right play, like before I even think about ownership, I look at what's the right play, what's not the right play, and then what's the pivots to the right play. And yesterday, the pivots were like the Yankees who didn't do anything, stuff like that. So when to fade chalk and when not to fade chalk, it really comes down to how often. What is your percentage of success for that stack, right? So in basketball, LeBron James is 40% owned, right? In your mind, he needs 55 fantasy points for him to be the optimal play, and he's 40% owned. Well, what is your model's percentage of probability for that to happen? And if the percentage of probability is lower than the ownership, well, then you should probably fade that chalk. If it's higher, then you could still eat the chalk and say that you're making the right play. But you also just can't get too caught up on one slate sample sizes for baseball, because it is pretty crazy. But hopefully that made sense, right? Like, let's say you think there's a 70% chance LeBron is going to be in the winning lineup, and he's 40% owned. Well, 40% owned sounds like a lot, but it's less than your probability of him being optimal. So you can still leverage that. Trout. Oh yeah, what was it? Aaron? Where's Aaron at with the Trout takes? I didn't know you was that connected. You got Hollywood. Shout out to Devontae Graham. Yeah, I need some more shout outs, bro. Chat, who can we get the shout outs out? No, I know a bunch of wrestlers, but that doesn't really translate well to here, right? Mets with a 5-team total versus Pablo Lopez, looking suspicious in that part. Yeah, maybe. What about Thompson? Bino, I'm not gonna play Thompson here. If that's what you're asking, Zach Thompson, I'm not gonna play him today. All right, cool. But in baseball, to fade Kyle Schwarber yesterday, and Schwarber was my least owned of the Phillies' main guys, right? He got there off of a leadoff bomb, I believe, or no, not a leadoff. The second time through homered, but he was actually my least owned Philly. I had more Castellanos, more Hoskins, more JT Realmuto, more Bryce Harper. So he's my least owned, but yeah. On these bigger slates though, this is where I'm more inclined to fade bad or chalk, just straight up chalk, and we're looking for pivots because there's more teams that will likely match. The Giants lineup just came out, by the way. That's what got me. So Gonzalez, Yastrzemski, Longoria is batting third today. Young Jock on the beat, batting fourth. Brandon Belt, Tyro Estrada, Tommy La Stella, Brandon Crawford, and Austin Wins. All right, confirmed Giants lineup. So with that in mind, a lot of lefties. All right, cool. Martin Perez got me his case. Man, this whole season for Martin Perez, what a season he's putting together. He's like one of the top pitchers in WAR too. Yankees at the Blue Jays. Neither lineup looks confirmed. We got a 4.6 run total for both teams. Pretty split pick'em. J-Mont, Gumby, Monty, Jordan Montgomery taking on Ross Stripling. I mean, this is a battle of behemoths. Last time the Yankees went up to Toronto, they were able to win the series. But this is a tough spot for Montgomery. He's going to face a lineup that will probably be all righty. And so far this season against righties, he has a 3.96 xFIP with a 17% K rate. Now, he's not getting demolished, but he is tempting teams to put the ball in play, tempting righties to put the ball in play. So if you're going to, these are some names to put the ball in play. So it's an uphill battle. I don't really see a ceiling here worth going after. So I don't think I'm going to play any Montgomery. Yesterday, Luis Severino was a scratch. They put him on the COVID list, but he doesn't actually have COVID. He was just sick. He tested negative for COVID. So I don't know how they're going to react to that. But because of his surprise scratch, they had to go to some random bullpen arms. We got Clark Schmidt, and then we got somebody else I've never seen before, and he did his thing, bro. What a pick-me-up. It was Ryan Weber. 48 pitches from him yesterday to really save the bullpen, and they only had to use Michael King, who might still be available today, and Marinaccio, who will probably be available, but he's not like a guy that they'll quick to go to. So that will probably mean that Clay Holmes would be available, Lucas Licky maybe. Miguel Castro probably makes an appearance because of his righty stuff. And so as taxed as that bullpen should be after yesterday, they're not. And Montgomery has been going deep enough as some of these starters have lately. So I'm kind of perplexed as what to do with this game. I think the lazy approach is, hey, it's the Yankees, it's the Blue Jays. Both have high octane offenses. We probably just stack it up. And they have been popping the roof open lately too. So do you guys think that's the move? We just don't even worry about it and we just bet on the offenses here. Neither offense projected at 5 runs, so maybe we're going against the grain here a little bit, but yeah, I'm with it. And another thing I'm going to point out with the Yankees, and I haven't actually looked this up, but I watch every game. It feels like we're trying to steal bases more than anybody. So I'm actually curious. Now, we get caught stealing a lot, but it feels like we're going at a much more aggressive rate than I can remember any Yankee team going in a long time. So let me see how many stolen bases the Yankees have. But the reason I mention that is because if a team has a high stolen base rate, it helps that stacks floor a little bit more. Yankees have their top 10 in stolen bases and 48 total attempts. So yeah, they're top 10. So that's actually, that's something different that you don't get from the number 1 team. Usually the run at will teams are like, what do we have to lose teams in a division? But yeah, so with that in mind, like yesterday, I think in the last couple days, I've seen Judge steal a base, I've seen Rizzo steal a base, and if that's going to raise their floor, and stolen bases are worth a pretty penny on the sites. I think they're like 5 points. That's something to keep in mind as we go forward, especially if we start finding some of these totals be not 6. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna pitch either pitcher. I think we stack both stacks, right? So let's put Yankees, Blue Jays in the stack list. Neither are gonna be like a 10+% stack, I don't think. but they're still in the mix just because they can pop off. Did you like New York starting pitchers yesterday? I think he looked good. Yeah, Clark Schmidt, every time I see him, he's disgusting. But his metrics, like his underlying metrics this year, weren't that great. But every time I watch him, like the eye test, like I almost sound like an old baseball scout. Yeah, he passes the eye test, boy. He got some stuff. But, yeah, his metrics weren't that friendly to him when I put him in the spreadsheet yesterday. But, yeah, he looks filthy. The Yankees have a couple of starting pitchers. But him, J.P. Sears, Luis Hill, like, they all have stuff, but it's getting it consistently. A lot of them tend to have walk rates to deal with. What do we got here? Smoke. Let's put it on shuffle. Looks like Garrett Cole too, a little bit. All right, let's move on from that game. I don't really have any like knee-jerk reactions to go and prop bet anything. Only Judge has a 4+ rating in this game on the bomb detector, and I don't want any action on the pitchers, so we don't need to prop shop it. Rangers at the Tigers. Go Tigers. Tigers lineup is out. Victor Reyes, Harold Castro, Miggy. Hey, Austin Meadows. Vince McMahon to speak tonight. Javi Baez, Robbie Grossman, Jonathan Scope, Spencer Torkelson batting 8th. Tucker Barnhart batting 9th. And our pitching matchup here is John Gray taking on Tariq Skubal. And if we remember, Mr. Roth mentioned something about this game. I'm going to refresh. Decently warm with winds out to left center, 15 miles an hour. Nice hitting weather. So, cool. So if that raises anything for you, cool. Rangers are actually way above league average in WRC plus, 116 against lefties. But Tariq Skubal's been that guy, pal. A 2.93 expected ERA this season, a 27.6% K rate, and overall his ground ball rate to righties 43.5% and to lefties 63%. And Corey Seager, Cole Calhoun, Nate Lowe, those guys will probably be in the lineup, and they are lefties, so can neutralize those guys, especially Corey Seager. It's the Semyons and the Adolis Garcias you got to get behind or get through. So it's a spot. It's a spot for Skubal. So we're gonna add him to the pitching tiers here. I think I'm gonna introduce him as a tier 2. Kind of go from there. Make sure the pitch count is respectable. On the 12th, he pitched 76 pitches. Toronto. He got into Jimmy Jam. Toronto, like I said, all righties. Prior to that, a lot of 7-inning strong games. A couple of good teams, Minnesota and Cleveland. And we know he can get up to 90 to 100 pitches. So yeah, what's the prop board on Mr. Skubal? Man, yesterday the Rangers were one of the chalkier teams, and they did not come through. I did get an Ezekiel Duran 9th-inning bases clearing ground ball triple, 6 Ks, 92.5 pitches, 36 and 5 hits. So the pitches thrown seems kind of low, but nothing crazy. Kind of like Mookie. It's Mookie, bruh. We always like Mookie. John Gray on the road. John Gray is one of those, I think, tournament options for me, just because we have seen some games this season where John Gray kind of delivers. You look at his last game, 27 fantasy points against the White Sox, 35 fantasy points against the Rays. Now, he comes with some risk, but the reward is high enough that it's worth going after, and we know that the Tigers are like the worst team in the baseball. 25% K rate, no ISO to speak of, a 65 WRC plus. I think it's 6,900. That's one of your salary-saving SB2 options on DraftKings. You just don't really see him dying, right? Like, no one's ready to stack the Tigers, I don't think. So I think we have to have John Gray exposure today. We're going to introduce him into the tier 3 category, but I might get crazy with him if other options don't jump up. And then what do we got on John Gray? Maybe his projection comes in soft. 6 Ks. Wow, they did not. 27.5 fantasy score, so that seems kind of low. Let's do some math here. Let's do some math on their they didn't give us outs. Calculator. Smooth calculator. Let's do some math on John Gray. Let's use their strikeout projection, which is 6, right? So let's do 6 times 3. So that's going to give us 18. Let's give them 6 innings. I think that's fair. So that's going to be 18. So 18 plus 18 by itself is, no, that ain't right. 18 plus 18 is 36. So without a win, without a quality start, we're getting 36 fantasy points, and his line is at 27.5. I think we're doing fantasy points, boys. Anybody disagree with this? Just 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. Just 36 fantasy points. Like, I'm not, I got that right? This seems broken. 6 Ks is 18, and 18 outs is 18. That's 36. So yeah, he might give up a run or whatever, but he also might get a quality start and a win. And he is a, I guess the win is not likely because of Scooble, but man, just 6 and 6. I'll take a shot, and maybe we'll get the quality start, and it's the Tigers. So I think we're gonna nominate John Gray fantasy points. Don't lock it in yet, but I think it's going to be. So we'll go John Gray over 27.5 fantasy. Right? It's a maybe. Let's look at the strikeouts a little bit more. There's a 26% strikeout rate this season. This lineup strikes out 25% of the time. Yeah. What up, Quinn? Tell me, Quinn. And then, yeah, we have Scooble in the list here. I probably am not that interested in stacking either. But with the wind blowing out, that's at least intriguing. Neither one of these pitchers have a severe fly ball problem. So I don't know how much of a boost that wind here is going to play, especially the fact that it's Comerica, but it might. Bond detector is not really leaning towards anyone specifically, and a lot of these Rangers, anytime we go against Tariq Skubal, a lot of his bomb detector stuff is from last year. He had a severe home run problem in the righties last year, and he's fixed that. So more on the pitchers here. Maybe we'll put both those pitchers in a blender. Red Sox hosting the Cardinals. Do I have the Mets game? Yeah, I do. All right. Red Sox lineup is confirmed. Jaron Duran, Rafi Devers, JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, Verdugo, Trevor Story, Franchi Cordero, Christian Vasquez, and JBJ, Jackie Bradley. No confirmed lineup for the Cardinals yet. 5.3 run total for the Cardinals. 5.5 for the Red Sox. This is Fenway Park. Look at all this green here, boys. Fenway is one of the more hitter-friendly parks in baseball. And the Cardinals, man, they've been a scary offense. I guess you would maybe make the case that they're scarier against lefties. But Michael Wacha, I'm not buying what he's selling, bro. I know he went ham and eggs against the Angels. But that was a little bit fake, right? He curtain calls that with 8 hits and 4.1 innings to the Mariners, gives up a bomb and more fly balls than ground balls. I think we're gonna take our chances here with the Cardinals, offense, and we can focus on. We don't need to focus on either. Against lefties, a 4.9 xFIP. Just a 16% K rate. So if you do get a Brendan Donovan or Tommy Edman or Nolan Gorman at the top of the lineup, something like that, plus matchup for them. And then Wacha has a 17% K rate to righties. He does keep the ball on the ground against righties, but if we start leaning to some regression maybe towards last year, his hard contact rate has been cut in half this season, and I don't know if that's going to keep sustaining. And even if it does or doesn't, Paul Goldschmidt is just hitting the screws off the ball right now. So Goldie and Arenado Basically, I'm saying either way, we're going to stack the Cardinals. And then at the same time, we're probably going to stack the Red Sox. Wainwright, kind of a similar profile. He's not a big strikeout guy. Will keep the ball on the ground, especially against lefties. Neither team has given us a 4+ rating in the bomb detector, but I think we stacked the ballpark here. So we're going to throw them in the blender. Cardinals, Red Sox. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of team action tonight. It's a big 150 night for sure. And then no Cardinals lineup yet. Big run total here as well. Rangers lineup just came out, by the way. If you guys want to back that thing up, we'll get it typed up. Semien, Seager, Garcia, Jonah Heim is batting cleanup here. Nate Lowe, Sam Hoffa, Ezekiel Duran, Charlie Hustle, and Leody Taveras. Is that right? No, that's not right. Leody. And Tigers just made a change. Reyes, Castro. Looks like Willie Castro has been inserted into the lineup. I'll fix that in a minute. Austin Meadows scratch. Okay, that's a good call, Russ. All right, so Willie Castro for Austin Meadows. How's your MLB Fantasy League been? That's actually an incredible question because I don't think I set my team today. I'm either tied for first place or I'm in second place. I actually lost last week, unfortunately. I have a lot of injuries right now in the pitching department. Let me make sure. So today I'll have Rodon, Gray, Gore, Lauer, Baz. I'm scared about Gore and Coors. What are we going to do? I had to cut Freddie Peralta because they put him on the 60-day. And I still got Bryant on the IL. So let's see. Standings. Looks like I'm in second place. Well, not too bad, right? Could be better, could be worse. I'm 6-3. The guy in front of me is 6-2-1. What are you gonna do? Devers or Machado to hit a homer today? Probably. Yikes! I don't know, man. I mean, that's both, right? Like, yes. Like I said, in Boston, winds out to right at 15 miles an hour. You know, that's going to help your lefty pull hitters, and that's Rafi Devers all day. But Machado in Coors Field, that's not a bad play either. This should help John Gray. Yeah, I think it's another boost for Gray. So, if you guys just tuned in, I'm working on my PrizePicks list. The only thing I got so far is Gray over 27.5 fantasy. So if you guys are, just working on your own list, cool. Maybe add that. And then, of course, if you're watching and you're not on either PrizePicks or Underdog, you know the drill. Use my links. They show me some love. They keep our content free. And then they also double your first deposit up to $100. So it's a really cool thing. All right, we're stacking both Cards and Red Sox. Not rostering either pitcher tonight. So we can matriculate on to the next one and go to Citi Field where the Mets host the Marlins. The Mets last night. Anybody catch the finish of that game? I know the finals game was going on, but they were playing the Brewers, and Edwin Diaz let a leadoff runner on, and then who was it? I think Renfroe got on, and the next guy, my mind is escaping me, hit like a double, a line scraping double. So Renfroe went first to third, and the third base coach waved him home, and the ball wasn't that deep, and he got thrown out at the plate. So the Brewers kind of sold that game, and they would have had Yelich up with two runners in scoring position and I think one out, but instead, Edwin Diaz clutches up. So I bet there was a conversation about that. Mets lineup is out. Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Mark Hanna. Also, Marte came in last night, and I think he pinch ran for, it might have been Canada. I don't know. He pinch ran for the guy in third base, with like no outs. I was like, how slow do you have to be that they needed to use Marte's speed from third to home over yours? All right, there's our confirmed Mets lineup. Pablo Lopez, Carlos Carrasco. Lopez, 3.25 expected ERA. He's not bad. This is kind of a inflated run total, maybe. Feels like a 13.8% swing and strike rate on Pablo. I don't know. He's not necessarily. He's not a guy I would want to go pick on. Maybe his K rate to lefty plummets 21%. Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, Guillorme. And Guillorme's not really, somebody I'm too scared of to do damage. So, kind of a weird run total, I guess, for the Mets. I don't know. Lopez at 10.2K. That's a tough ask, but he's good. I know. I last year I preferred him in Miami. Is there maybe a limit? He pitched on the 10th, so he's been 7 days. Said Lopez's bullpen Monday didn't go as the Marlins would have hoped, so they're trying to figure out who will start Wednesday in his place, blah, 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 blah. So this is from the 14th. 78 pitches in that last outing. He's not a gas can. I don't know. 10K might be a little too much for him, but in 150, we might put him in the back end. But this Mets team doesn't really offer a ton of strikeout potential to righties. Just the bottom of today's order, J.D. Davis, Tomas Nido, have a K rate really above 20% worth mentioning. So I think at 10.2K, I could sit him out with a lot of question marks on his health and the matchup. And somebody knows more than me for the Mets to be implied at 5. Carrasco on the bump here at 9.1K. The Marlins have been really, really scrappy, especially against righties. A 113 WRC plus against righties. And I've seen a lot of righties pick up ownership against the Marlins this year, and people regret it after a couple innings. We don't have the confirmed Marlins lineup out yet, but Chisholm, if he's leading off, is an instant problem. And he's the type of guy that makes me never want to bet a no-run first inning. And then, we might even get to some of these Marlins as like a 2, 3, 4% stack, assuming maybe the field is the opposite here, maybe going back to Carrasco. Carrasco's overall numbers, 3.58 expected ERA, 23.7% K rate. Respectable, get me over. Yeah, there's a range of outcomes for 20-plus fantasy points, so I wouldn't talk you down on putting either pitcher in your player pool. I'd probably be a little bit more likely to put Carrasco, but neither one of them are invoking conviction in me. But based on what the Marlins lineup will be, like if it's this projected lineup, there's still some strikeouts to be had here, but they have a pretty versatile or a flexible list of names that they could throw out there. So we'll see what the Marlins do. I said do. And we'll go from there. So right now we're just kind of observing. Let's see what the props are for Pablo and Carrasco. Pablo doesn't have anything. Carrasco has 5.5 Ks, 92.5 pitches, 32.5 fantasy points. All that seems apropos. What up, James? Would you take a shot on Rocky's money line? No, probably not. I think Gore's the way better pitcher than Freeland. I will say Freeland knows how to pitch in Coors more than Gore's a rookie, but probably not. You're getting only plus 127 too. Nah, probably not. What up, Andrew? Here. Next game on the docket, Astros hosting the White Sox. Is this right? Where do I have that at? This. Oh, there it is. Giolito taking on Valdez. We do have an Astros lineup. Jose Altuve, Michael Brantley, Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, Yuli Gurriel, Aledmus Diaz, Chas McCormick, Martin Maldonado. That is our confirmed lineup. We're still waiting on the White Sox lineup. White Sox are an insanely different team against lefties than they are righties. Put this in perspective. Against lefties, as of today, a 141 WRC plus against lefties. You switch that over to righties, and it goes down to 87. Like, I don't know. Is there any other team with like a 60 WRC plus gap in split? That's pretty wild. So I do look at them with more respect. I mean, look at these numbers right now against the lefty. 1 through 5 of this projected lineup, a 250 plus ISO aggregate, OPS at 800 to 1 dots. It's a dangerous spot. And Valdez, as much of an inning eater as he has been, he's a guy that doesn't really strike bats out. And 20% K rate to righties in the last 2 seasons, and it's extreme ground ball guy, but he's still going to put the ball in play, and this is a dangerous spot. So what I would say is the pushback is that $8,500 price point seems like a soft enough landing to where if you are content with 2x, right, that's 16, 18 fantasy points, I don't think it's an impossible outcome for him to get that here, but just know this matchup's a lot tougher than maybe the general perception of the White Sox this season, because the White Sox have been so bad against righties. You kind of lose sight that they're not that bad against lefties. 6 innings or more in just about every start out of Valdez since April 25th. And we know he can throw up to 100 plus pitches, 114 in that Oakland game. Do we get 17.5 outs on Valdez? Otherwise, I'm not that interested. We get 18. So that's his likeliest outcome, I think. So if you want a better push, I think that's possible. But for the most part, no. That 5.5 Ks, though, that seems high. Maybe. I don't know. Jake Berger, Moncada, Sebi Savalia, and Danny Mendick all strike out a lot, but this guy is not pitching to strike you out. Do we get a higher, like, is there any chance underdogs giving us 6 Ks? I feel like I would dance with the under on 6. 5.5 is still doable. I guess it's the same bet. I don't know what I'm saying. 6 or maybe 6.5. I don't know. Let's see what underdogs giving us. They give us 5.5 as well. We'll wait for the confirmed White Sox lineup. If it comes out a little bit different, I'd be somewhat interested in the under on his Ks. How far is Tim Anderson from coming back? I feel like I've seen him in minor league starts. Tuesday should rejoin at some point during the upcoming homestand, which begins June 20th. All right, so he's not going to be back until the next series. Thinking about the case, we'll wait for that lineup. That boy Keegan mowing the F out of the Braves. Dang. Every time I look at good lefty and they have a bad game, it's against the White Sox. I'm telling you, man, White Sox are just so different. But we'll see what that lineup comes out as. I think the catcher spot's something I'm watching. And yeah. It's crazy Moncada splits are so bad too. Astros against Giolito. Astros have a 4.6 run total. Giolito's been alright, but this year his expected ERA and his WHIP are kind of egregious. 4.6 expected ERA, a 1.4 WHIP, a 12.5% barrel rate. Kind of expect him to improve those numbers just because we know he's a higher pedigree pitcher. Still has a 31% K rate. It's a tough Astros lineup to get off on. This is probably a scumdacker spot. We get a little Giolito in the mix. We get a little Astro stacks in the mix. So let's do that. Let's put Giolito at the bottom. I just think he's kind of expensive. And then we'll put Astros in the mix. I'm not ranking the stacks just yet. Giolito doesn't have like any flimsy pitch count I need to worry about, right? 81 on the 11th, 6 days. It should be all right. And then, yeah, we're good. What's his numbers at? They got him at 5. They got Giolito as a lower K prop than Valdez, and Giolito has a 30% K rate while Valdez has 20. That's pretty crazy. 17.5 outs, 2.5 earnings, 5 hits. All right. Valdez feels inflated. Like, I feel like the market might be inflating him based on some of the recent matchups, and I don't think the White Sox are that bad. Let me write it on the list, guys. I'll put honorable mention or thinking about Framber Valdez under 5.5 Ks. And then I'll wait for the official lineup to make a decision. What up, Catelza? How long I've been on here? For about an hour. So if I can help it, the schedule going forward, unless there's like a weird slate, you should expect me on the airwaves at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. And then sometimes Josh will go before me. Sometimes Josh will go after me. Today, Josh, I think Eric will go after me for a NBA talk. But I have a 2-hour window every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. I don't always use the 2 hours, but that's my window. Let's go to Coors Field here. Mackenzie Gore taking on Kyle Freeland. Freeland, man, whew, a 1.42 WHIP, 4.79 expected ERA on the season. This year at home, a 300 average allowed, 14% K rate to overall K rate. To his credit, he has not given up bombs at a crazy rate, a 0.54 homer per 9 to righties. To lefties, he's actually allowing a 1.72 with the higher fly ball rate. Do we have any reverse splits lefties to take advantage of that? Jay Cronenworth has a 3.37. No. So we definitely want to pick on Freeland here, but we're probably betting on multiple hits from the Padres if we're letting the metrics do the talking. But the Padres have a 7-run total, so you're not going to not. Unless they come in like 25-30% owned and you just want to be different and take the top ownership off the board. I don't think that's a bad approach, but it is almost 100 degrees out there in Coors Field, so bad things happen to good people. And because of that, I'm also not touching Mackenzie Gore, and I'm meditating hard on benching him in my personal season-long league because of how bad the spot is. So we're stacking Coors, and it's simple as that. We're not gonna do anything crazy. I don't think, unless you guys are. I'm not. I know Mackenzie Gore's been good, but this is just a really rough spot. So I'm not even gonna like break down anything. It's a 13-run total, wind blowing out at 95 degrees in Coors Field, guys. That's Stackonomics 101. Do it. Frankie Montas over 5.5 Ks. Yeah, that's the next game on the docket. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about it. Athletics a 4-run total. Royals just 3.2. Montas taking on Zach Greinke. Greinke a 5.7 expected ERA, an 11% K rate. Frankie Montas a 3.1 expected ERA, 26% K rate. The xFIP to righties 2.52 this season. The Royals will probably be half and half, so 3.37 xFIP to lefties as well. A lot of good stuff for him. I think Montas is coming in kind of like Ohtani for me last night, where his price was just way too cheap to really see failure, right? Obviously, every pitcher can implode, and Montas against Cleveland did, but this is, man, it's a plus park, and the Royals have a below average WRC plus against righties, and only Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez have a 200 plus ISO against righties, so it's a really plus spot for Montas all the way around, and I think there's a soft landing for like 16 fantasy points with a true outcome of like 25 plus fantasy points as well. So I do think on DraftKings it's gonna be really hard to get away from Montas. I think we have to introduce him into the pitcher player pool at least a tier 2, and we'll go from there. And it'll probably be like the higher owned tier 2 guy for me. The question was his strikeout prop, so let's just look at this matchup here. It's still a projected lineup, but Witt, Salvi, MJ Melendez, Rivera, and Michael A. Taylor probably have an aggregate of, let's say, 23% K rate, so that's good. Oakland, believe it or not, is actually below league average in strikeouts, and that's kind of it's a tricky thing to think about. It's like, what? That's a pitcher's park. Why is it bad for strikeouts? Well, they have such a big foul ground territory that in other parks where a pop-up, those foul pop-ups that go into the stands, those are strikes to get a pitcher ahead and count elsewhere. When Oakland, sometimes those are just straight up pop outs to like first base, and he's like 15 feet away from first base. So it's not necessarily a super plus park for strikeouts. It's actually negative. But at 5.5 against this lineup, I wouldn't say no. I think it's fine. I'd probably be looking for like an outs prop or something like that. He's at 6 on PrizePicks right now. What is he at on? He's at 6 on the 2 spots that I look at, and I think that's probably the likeliest outcome. But the over's still live. 7, 5, 11, and 3 of his last 4. Cleveland's a scrappy team. I get it. 6 is probably right there to where it just seems like it's gonna push more than it doesn't. What are the other monsters lines? 98.5 pitches, 37.5 fantasy. Yeah, I think all that's pretty appropriate, so I don't need to push the issue here. Justin, where do you get 5.5? Is that still on the sports book? Oh, they moved it about an hour ago? Okay. Well, if you got it earlier, I think that's fine. It's a good sign that you got it, and then they moved the line, you know? Greinke, I have no interest in... it's a weird, right? I almost always find somebody to pitch against the Athletics. Zach Greinke, I just don't do it. Just don't do it. And they didn't give us nothing for him. But usually I'll take a under on Greinke if it was at 3 or whatever. Why? How come there's nothing? Neither site wants to offer anything on Greinke. Stack wise, you know, this game's kind of a full fade for me offensively, but give me Montes' arm. Twins and the D-backs. Devin Smeltzer taking on Madison Bumgarner. Twins have a 4.8 implied run total. D-backs 4.4. 105 degrees in Arizona, so I imagine the roof is going to be closed. They might staple that thing shut for the rest of the season. Mad Bum, 6.3K on DraftKings, just 17.8% K rate to righties this season, 11% to lefties. The barrel rate, about 8%, and to his credit, not giving up an egregious amount of homers, but the fly ball and hard contact rate combo is just always got me chasing. Buxton, Correa, Jose Miranda, Ryan, my name is Yaffers, all have a 4+ rating in the bomb detector. So yeah, we're stacking some Twins today. And behind Mad Bum is a bullpen that is 15 points below league average in K percentage plus, 12 points above average and hit per 9 plus, about average on the home runs and stuff like that. So it's a positive matchup for the Twins. So the road team here should get a quality 9 innings of opportunity. Smeltzer on the bump. He's got just a 12.5% K rate overall, with a 45% ground ball rate to righties, 50% to lefties. Hasn't really give up a ton of anything to lefties, but not somebody we want to roster. He does have a 157 home run per night to righties, so that should bode well for Christian Walker, who probably has more home runs than you think he does. And then Carson Kelly, historically, pretty solid numbers against lefties here. So neither pitcher for me. Definitely stacking Twins. And the right version of the D-backs lineup can get some ownership for me. Maybe I don't like onslaught stack the Twins, but the D-backs, but probably definitely some 2 and 3 mans, right? I probably need to split them, like teams that I would go 5, teams that I would go 4, and then 3 and 2s. And that's all I got to say about that. Is Daniel Lynch great? Okay, well, that's a good call, Smitchell. How did I miss that? Did that just happen, or am I just a bot? I guess I'm just a bot. Roger Center's going to open the roof, by the way. All right, so that does change a little bit. So let's go up and correct that. Appreciate that. Daniel Lynch against the Athletics. It really doesn't change much in terms of what I'm going to roster. Yeah, actually, it doesn't. It does raise the home run rates, or the home run ratings, for Laureano, Bethancourt, and Sean Murphy. But, yeah, I don't think I'm going to... Yeah, not doing it. All right, Mariners hosting the Angels. Michael Lorenzen up against Robbie Ray. Angels have an implied run total of 3.7. Robbie Ray's Mariners have an implied run total of 4. Man, that's a really low run total for the Angels, don't you think? Robbie Ray has not been that guy, pal. A 4 expected ERA, essentially. 4.52 ERA. Ward, Trout, Ohtani. I don't know, man. That seems really low for the Angels here, but Vegas knows more than me. Maybe we get a. You always wonder if Ohtani's gonna get a day off after pitching, so maybe something like that, but I just don't know. Robbie Ray is playable at 8,700, but it would be tier 3 category for me. He's just been a little bit more flimsy this season. 20 plus fantasy points being a range of outcome at this price point, sure. The Angels a 96 WRC plus against lefties this season. Several opportunities at strikeouts in this lineup, so a little bit of both. I think I'm more inclined to 2 and 3 man stack the Angels here, so I don't have to nominate him for an onslaught stack. And then Lorenzen, no thank you. 18% K rate, a 4.35 Sierra. The results have been fine, but he's not really a strikeout guy. So against lefties, I think I'm more inclined to pick on him. Almost a 1.5 homer per 9 to lefties with a 13.6% walk rate. So Jesse Winker and JP Crawford, they both pretty well. Winker should I thought he would have a better bomb detector rating, but it's only a 3.83. I guess that 54% ground ball rate to the lefties is holding that at bay. Yeah, I'm not pitching Lorenzen. Main event tonight, Dodgers, Guardians. Zach Plesac taking on Clayton Kershaw. Guardians with a 3-run total. Dodgers 5.2. And Kershaw is a minus 288. Kershaw, this is his second start since returning, and I think we're still working on limited pitches. He got to 71 in that last outing, so maybe he gets 85. I don't know if 85 pitches at 10.5K is going to play super optimal most of the time, but I do think, I'm not going to do it. Just Owen Miller, Naylor, and Hedges have a K percentage above 20% against lefties since the beginning of last year. Kershaw's a different breed, though. He can get strikeouts on anyone, and this lineup, since the beginning of last year, just Rosario, J-Ram project for power. They have a 108 ISO to lefties with an 88 WRC plus. So it's really Jose Ramirez and the Sunshine Gang against lefties. You would really need him to run really good for 10.5 Kershaw to play. You know what I mean? So I guess I wouldn't talk you down. I think mathematically right now, I'm not that interested. But I guess 85 pitches has an outcome of 5 innings, scoop a win, and maybe 7 Ks if he's on. I might put him in the 30s. Just know that he's limited, and that's a risky play. Right. Gun, what's your thought on Smeltzer over 3 Ks? I feel like he will pitch a minimum 5 innings. D-backs love to rack up the Ks. I can't bet these two numbers right here, Justin. A 7% swing and strike rate with a 12.5% K rate. It wouldn't shock me if you had those Ks, but I just, I have a process, and my process is not to wager these numbers to go over on anything. It's just an indifference approach that I take. Put that in perspective, a 6.9% swing and strike rate, that might be the same as Zach Greinke. I'm gonna put Greinke here just as a test. It's like 0.3% higher than Greinke, so he's not missing bats. So I just wouldn't want to sweat that. Hit the like, hit the likes, guys. Did I just zoom through the slate? We are done. Does that mean I could steal a shower before I do the RunDFS.com VIP voice chat? Maybe. You guys got any questions, comments, concerns? I'll go punch in some confirmed lineups because we did get a couple. But yeah, if you guys got some questions, throw them at me, and then yeah, I guess I'll pull the plug on the stuff and take a shower, and then I'll be ready for voice. Yankees lineup is Judgy leading off. Let's go, baby. We ain't playing no games tonight. Donaldson batting second. Okay. Bro, they put out... Bro, what is this lineup? What the freak? Bro, okay, I don't think I like this, man. You think this was going against Ryu or Kikuchi? What the heck? It's like all righties up here. Santiago Espino, Matt in second, Vladdy, Kirk, Teoscar, Matt Chapman, Lourdes Gurriel, Gabriel Marino, Kevin Biggio. So that's our confirmed Blue Jays and Yankees lineup. Man, that Yankees lineup looking a lot like last year's. I guess Rizzo's in the mix, but just two lefties feels weird. I guess I'm spoiled with Hicksy. But Judgy leading off, right? We like that. What else we got? I guess we could adjust the Tigers. Willie Castro batting third. Miggy. And that was it, right? Yep. Cardinals, nope. All right, I think we're good. We'll do a bond detector look, and then I guess we'll get out of here. Alright, chat, make sure you're in the free Discord. There's a link to that in the description below. If you want to hang out with me in about an hour, I'll be in the rundfs.com VIP voice chat. Bomb Detector likes Harper, Buxton, Schwarber, Judgy, Polanco, Cruz, Jeffers, Christian Bethancourt, Brandon Belt, Castellanos, Miranda. So not a lot of numbers up here for a big slate, right? Very sketchy. Yep. Twitter.com/Gundecker if you got anything else for me. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. I hope you crush it tonight. Hey, tell somebody you love them because I love you. Tomorrow, no stream on this channel. We'll be on the Off Smoke channel, man. I hope you guys crush it tonight. I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.